Okay, so the next point, it's called a Duncan point, right? We'll see if I'm right. I didn't look it up. I turned off the camera. I finished the Mallory point, and I said, the name is, it's a Duncan point, like Dunkin' Donuts. No, not spelled the same way. Right? I hope that's right. I gotta double and triple check myself these days. This is a piece of heat treat, yes. I'm gonna use another piece of heat treat of a non-gray color. I'm gonna try to keep it the same measurement, but we'll see. Let's see. This one is 2 1/4 by 1, a little over 1 inch. You can mount this to an arrow if you wanted to, but it's in that little dart point, supposedly. It looks like a little dart point to me, not an arrow point, but that's just me. I'm not always right. Just don't tell nobody. Okay. Did any of you guys have a parent that would say that he or she was always right? I did. My mom says she was always right. And we were not allowed to giggle at that. Nope. Because you know, usually I'm always right, and it's like giggle, giggle, because it is funny, you know. But we were not allowed to giggle at that. No, no. Just memories from childhood. Let me see. I got room. I got lots of room. Yep, I got lots of room. Did it work? I tried a thinning flake down that ridge. Yes, it worked. I know it did. I was just messing with you. Did it do it? On the other side too? Oh yes. It met up in the middle. Just like I wanted to. Everything's controlled. You know that. Yep. You know that by now. Watching this channel. It's always controlled. It's like that parent that says, I'm always right. Yeah. If you're in a situation where someone's telling you that these are controlled, this is all controlled. Yeah, it's the same kind of mindset. So there's something going on there. I'm just saying. Come on. Oh, that almost dived. That worries me. If it's a diving type of chert, we're going to have some issues. I like to send in bold flakes, but I can't do it if you're gonna dive on me. Yeah. So, did you hear it? Did you hear that lesson? If it's a diving chert, you're not going to be able to run long flakes easily or bold flakes easily because they're going to want to dive. You can't expect the rock to do something that it can't do. The new guys are doing that all the time. They can expect it all they want. But I'm just letting you know. To save you a little bit of trouble. It won't do it very easily. It requires some luck. And you guys never know if it's luck or if it's them. Did I do that flake well because of luck or because it was me? They don't know. They never know. Where'd that flake come from? So was that flake luck or me? Never know. If you're a new guy, you'll never know. You gotta wait until you've made many points and you'll go, yeah, it's luck. Or no, that was me. I knew that was gonna happen. I set it up for that. Yeah. You can set it up. You can get flakes after good setups. Yeah. You didn't know? You can set up for good flakes. And a lot of guys are good at that. Get everything set up for the perfect flake, and then psh, there goes the perfect flake. And they say, I knew I could do it. And they'd be right. Not much luck involved. Me, I actually depend on luck in a lot of cases. Because it takes too much time for me to set everything up. That's my excuse. I don't like spending forever doing the setups. Even though it would be more predictable. Yeah. I don't even know if that makes sense to just go for it and depend on some luck instead of having to spend all that time trying to set it up. I don't even know if that makes any sense to do it that way. Maybe I'm irrational. Or going about this in an irrational way. I'm teaching you irrational ways. Yeah. Rationality is a hard thing. How to be rational. But I think it's a very valuable skill. Learning how to be rational. Probably the most valuable skill that you could learn is how to be rational. In my opinion, after all the skills that I've tried to learn, the one that tops the list is learning how to be rational, which is the opposite of being insane. Now, some of you might think that insanity is a medical condition. Yeah, an unhealthy mind can lead to insanity, but the medical condition is the unhealthy mind. Like under the influence of some drug or ruined by some drug or brain injury or trauma can make your brain unhealthy, and then you'll think irrationally. It could be that if you're irrational, but it could also be on purpose. You could just, you're irrational on purpose just because it makes people angry, and you want to see their anger and then blame them, or give them a guilt trip and say, see, you're not such a good person, look at your anger. Yeah, you're angry at me for being stupid, but you're the one getting angry, not me. There are people that think that way. That's an irrational way of thinking. On purpose. So it's not just the health of the individual. Could be other things. So one of the most valuable skills, the moral of a story is how to be rational and how to recognize irrationality and the different types of irrationality. So you know whether to be sorry for somebody, have pity, or know who to avoid. Say, well, I got to get away from this person. Or not listen to this person. This person is doing their things so they can manipulate. Or whatever. It's a very valuable skill. Who is being irrational and for what reasons? And how to be rational. Yep. It's very difficult. It's more difficult than Flintknapping. And Flintknapping is very difficult. Don't think that learning how to be rational is easy. No. You have to learn all the logical fallacies for one. At least be familiar with it. With them, you know, you can go through. You probably won't remember all of them unless you study the fallacies constantly. But you have to be aware enough to where if someone is saying something irrational, it just hits you. It hits you in the wrong way, and you know that sounds like a fallacy. Let's look that up, or let's think about this. That's a wrong way of thinking. Or that's an irrational way of thinking. We should be thinking in rational ways. Leads to good things. Rational thinking leads to healthy thinking in healthy ways. And if you want a purpose in life, there's your purpose. To be healthy. Yep. Alright, so I'm at this stage where I'm almost done thinning. It's not quite a preform yet. Almost. I gotta do the thinning. Once the thinning's done, it is a trade blank. That's the thinning is done. The preliminary thinning, so that's a trade blank. Now to get it in the direction, to move it in the direction of this style, that's when it becomes a preform. Once it starts moving in the direction of a particular style. Now you can say this is a preform for that. At this stage, you can, yeah, you wouldn't be wrong, but you'd be better off waiting until it starts looking more like that. But I'm going to make a Duncan point, right? So it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to have the same outline, kind of, sort of, but it's going to have a more constricted stem. All right. So I got to narrow it down. Yep. Now, back in the day, they used to make these in sets. In my opinion, they wouldn't make one at a time. They'd make more than one at a time. Today's knappers, a lot of times, they just do one at a time. Just a one-shot deal. And they'll make a one point of one style, and they move on to another point of another style. They don't make sets of these, one after the other. They don't use a pattern. So in order to learn the old ways, I think that you need to at least know how to make these in sets. To copy and to get used to making preforms and trade blanks in the size that you need. Over and over and over again, and get used to it, because I think that's what they used to do back in the day. They would have their little mental template, and they would make these trade blanks in the correct size, just in case. You can use this for something else too, like a a different kind of tool, a scraper or a blade of some sort. It doesn't have to be one of these. Anyway, you get in your mind what the general size is, so that in case you do want to make one of these, you have something that's very similar in size. And then get used to making sets and copying from existing pieces. Either it's your buddies, someone in the tribe, or you've got the tribe that has one saved that's the best one in the universe, and you go and you copy that one, the best one in the universe point from the tribal spirit lodge. I make fun, right? I'm laughing, but it can be a serious thing where, you know, there is a reference. Yeah, and I bring that up because there was one thing I couldn't believe my ears when I heard it. But an archaeologist actually said they didn't have books on archaeology back in the day, so they didn't have a good reference on the point styles. They didn't have a good reference for point styles because they didn't have books. I'm thinking to myself, did this person actually get a degree from college? Because you don't need a book if you have a point already made. You just go, this is the point from la la la. Either it's from another tribe and I want to copy it, or it's from our own spirit lodge, or it's from my buddy. We have references. Or they have references back in the day. They're called points. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And then that was a long time ago. And after that, my opinion started to crumble on educated people. I mean, come on. Of course, not all educated people are like that, but I mean, you can't just take education on its face value. You've got to actually test the person, put the person to the test, because they could be just good at regurgitation and memorization. And yeah, that counts for a lot. Regurgitation and memorization, you can get by just on that. That's what AI is doing right now. Chat GPT or whatever, it's just memorization and regurgitation. The AI remembers and regurgitates. It can even compose literary works for you, but it's using memorization and regurgitation. Humans can do that too, and they get through college using those two skills. You know, Chat GPT or whatever it's called, it can get you through college. You can cheat and ask it to do everything for you, and it can get you through. It can write your papers for you. It's from what I've heard and what I've seen. It's got a political bent to it, but it can still get you the paper written. And I'm not going to deny that I had to have a little bit of a political bent when I was writing my papers in college. I did. I had to have a slight political bent to my research papers. So that the professor would be comfortable reading my research paper. Yeah, you don't want them all upset at your politics while they're trying to grade you. That's the least that you want. Now, my politics back in the day when I was young were not much different than my professors. They've changed over the years. You know, you end up changing. In most cases, you end up changing your opinions over the years, which is good, you know. It means that you're open to learning if you're changing your opinions. Of course, the trolls online are going to say, no, changing your opinion is a sign of weakness. or a sign of fraud if they don't like you. If you change your opinion to their side, ooh, they love you. If you change your opinion to the other side, you're a fraud. Ulterior motives, bad faith, false flags, on and on and on and on. It gets ridiculous. I don't even understand what false flags are. There's so many. It's used, that terminology is used for so many different deceptions that I don't even know now what that means. I used to know what it meant. It used to mean something simple. You just disguise yourself as something else in order to make an attack. But now it can be used for all sorts of weird situations that you're just weird deception tactics and other situations like that. You use false flags. I don't even understand it nowadays. All right, anyway. Here we go. Now, this stage here, I'm going to be thinning the edges down and doing a little bit of straightening and getting it ready for the final finishing. So I could be using indirect percussion. We'll see if I need to. I should be able to pressure flake some of this. Yeah. It's a very high quality heat treat. So I should be able to thin down the tip easily. As long as I have the edges ground well enough, which I apparently don't. Let's see. Passive pressure. Now, were these Duncan points used alongside the Mallory points? That's a good question. I don't know. They might have been used side by side. I don't know. I know that the Duncan points can be lashed on a much more strongly than the Mallories. The Duncans have ground stems, as far as I remember. They have these notches for lashing, but it looks like that lashing just goes across there. I don't know if it crisscrosses, because it seems like a long ways to crisscross. So I think it was just lashed across the top here just to hold down the tip and make the transition smooth here. Just lash it across and then lash it down here, and then the glue would be everywhere else. No lashings on the stem across this way, just a little bit on the tip. I mean, a little bit halfway on the tip of the wood of the foreshaft. But with the Duncan, it's going to be lashed all the way. The whole stem is lashed, so it's held on much more securely, in my opinion. You'll see. A Duncan actually reminds me of a paleo point. Although I don't know, these were not early archaic. These were like mid archaic or something. I will use some indirect percussion to thin certain areas and try to get longer flakes. I want to try to smash through that step fracture there with a flake. Hold on. Did it do it? Almost. It fanned out quite a bit, but it didn't quite fan out enough. Let's see. Might be able to pick it out. Aggressive picking. Yeah, I gotta thin it down. Yeah, I don't know. I'll cut it later. Or maybe I'll just leave it in. There's another technique where you can crush it. You can just push on the top of it and crush it out. Right? Yes. Supposedly it works. Push down on the top of it. Sometimes it can crush it off. But those are annoying, especially on heat treat. That happens on heat treat a lot. I can pick it off if I use a much sharper tip on my spatula tool. I may go back and do it. Yeah. I can try to create a median ridge on there, but I'm not going to. I started to do it, but then I slacked off. Yeah. It takes too long to set it up for doing median ridges. That's my excuse. I told you, I don't like the journey. I like to just look at the destination. I just want to see it thin down. I didn't really like thinning it down. I just want to see it thin. That's my reason for thinning, just to see it done. I wiped out a lot of those flakes, but I don't care because I like to see it thin. You didn't know that? I do like to see it thin. Sometimes I say that I just leave in the thickness because I don't care. But I do like to see it thin sometimes. Oh yeah. Yeah, I do. I do like to see it thin down. Especially if it gets translucent, then it's kind of cool. I don't like the journey getting there, but I like the thinness afterwards. Alright, I mentioned that in the previous video. I'm not into the journey. Yeah, I have a very sad existence. Alright, did it get to that step fracture yet? Let's see. I think I know how to get it. No, it's going to take a few minutes. I got to sharpen this. One direction, one direction. Yeah, I know. Studies have proven you can go back and forth and it hardly makes any difference at all. So, you mean you're so particular you actually looked up a study on how to sharpen with a file? Yeah. They got YouTube videos on everything. And they got tests. So I watched the guy test the files. See how dull they got, how fast they got dull. And if any techniques helped it to stay sharp. What techniques made the file duller. Why am I interested in that sort of thing? Because I don't want to spend a fortune on my hobby. I do sometimes take preservative measures. It might not seem that way because a lot of my tools are all rusted and nasty, but I do want them around for a while so I don't have to spend money on them every week or every month. Although I am spending money on my gloves more now, but that's okay. Looks good for the video to have nice, clean gloves. Anyway, where was I going with all that? This stage, I'm preforming it, yeah, but I'm still trying to scratch some itches here because it's not smooth enough. I'm going to see if I can smooth it out just a little bit more. Did it do it? Yes. Is it smoother? Yes. All right. Yeah, pretty much all I need to do now is pressure flake it. Yeah. Alright. So the Duncan that I saw that I liked, it was very narrow. I still got to go more narrow to match this one. The Duncan that I liked, it was very narrow. So let's see. I'm going to make it more narrow, but not more narrow than this one. I'm going to try to copy the exact profile, except for the stem. I can't go any further on the length. I'm right at the max. But the width, I can do it. All right, where's my pad? I can play around a little bit with the width. Maybe I can try to put that median ridge in that side. Maybe in the on this side too. Let's see. I don't know. I gotta do some fancy flaking. I like looking at fancy flaking, but I don't like doing fancy flaking. I don't like doing it. It forces me to think a lot and prepare a lot. It's not very opportunistic. Why do I like opportunistic? Because I have ADD. You didn't know? What does that got to do with anything? Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's because of the ADD or what. Are you more apt to do opportunistic random flaking if you have ADD? Someone, you psychologists out there, maybe you can answer that. Does the pattern of the flaking have anything to do with your mental or psychological structure? As far as ADD or dyslexia or autism or anything else like that? Non-trauma related brain structure? Emotional or physical trauma? Non-emotional, non-physical trauma related? Could be. Could be some people's brain structure affects their napping, and that's why they were napped that way. And it could run in families, in whole tribes even. Yeah. Could be. I don't know. I'm just speculating because I don't know anything about that. I could be just speculating on something that is irrelevant. I know OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, can affect your napping. Oh yes. We all know those types. When they get into napping, them OCDs, obviously crazy and bonker beans. Yeah, that's what that stands for. Obviously crazy and bonkers. I mean, no. OCD, not OCB. Obviously crazy and... what begins with D? Dumb. Obviously crazy and dumb. Yeah. You didn't know that? Now you know. So people tell me they learn something on each and every video. They learn something new. I laugh because I don't know. I don't know what they're learning. If I try to guess, I'm going to assume they're learning silly stuff. They're learning new Flintknapping words they didn't know were Flintknapping words. Yeah. It turns out I'm just making them up. Like some other Flintknappers. You just make up a Flintknapping word and they sound all cool. Am I getting there? Still too wide? Yeah. I can go thinner. I mean, I can go more narrow. More narrow. If I really try hard, I can put the median ridge in there. If I really, really try hard. Do I want to? Let me give it a shot. Since I got to go more narrow anyway. I got some mass to work with. Yeah, still got a lot of room. That's amazing. I thought I had used up all my room already. Okay, here goes. Fresh tip. Can't have any stone embedded in the tip. And yeah, I should be using the abrader because there could be stone chips in there to dull the file. But you know what? Oh well. Use some passive pressure. Passive. Just wait for it to release on its own. And hope and pray that you've got enough pressure on there. Did it go to the middle? Kind of did, right? Funny how that works if you take your time. And be really, really careful. Ah, not like that. Premature flakeration. Yeah, that's a Flintknapping term. Some of you will catch on. Yeah. Why is that funny? Some of you will say, why is that funny? No reason. Is it getting medianly? Did I do it medianly? Kind of, sort of. I'm going to call that a slight median ridge in the middle there. I mean, on the tip. Don't ask me to do it all the way down, okay? I won't like you. I won't like you if you ask me to just do a complete pass all the way down with a median ridge. Nope. Not my friend no more. Everyone's my friend until they tell me to do a median ridge all the way down. Yeah. Let's see. I'm acting like this is the width I need. Let's see. Is it the width I need? I'm still a little bit too wide, but I'm going to leave it. Yeah, I'm acting like it's the width I need because I'm already starting to sharpen it. I start to sharpen it after after I see that I've got the width that I need. I'll take it back a little bit more, okay? But don't ask me to do the median ridge, like I said. All the way down. Don't ask me. That's a 2-hour video right there. Have I tried before? Oh, yes. I've tried making Edens and Scott's Bluffs and all kinds of stuff with them median ridges. Oh, yes. I've spent hours and days on those. Someone asked me one time, what's the secret of the Eden? What do you mean there's a secret of the Eden? The Eden's secret. The Eden's secret is the median ridge all the way down. How do you do that? Of course, that person that asked me that question is probably not watching this episode. So he's not going to know. Yep. I waited a long time to answer it. It's in my video somewhere, dude. I answered it somewhere. You got to watch like 1,500 videos. Or whatever I'm at. In order to find that one video where I revealed what I think is the secret of the Eden. It's the median ridge, and when you lay it flat, it balances on that median ridge, so it doesn't go one way or the other. It stays flat. That's the mystery of the Eden. Not only do you got to put the median ridge down the middle, but when you set it down on a table, it can't plop to one side or the other. It's got to stay flat. Yep. That's the pinnacle of the Edens. The Eden skill. Yeah. It's very hard to do. It requires OCD. You got to be obviously crazy and dumb. Yeah. Are we there yet? I think we're there yet. All right, where does the... I'm going to start the shoulder at around the same spot. The shoulders are 1/3 up the blade max. So I'm going to start the shoulder for the Duncan. Where's my marker? I know I got one. There it is. Just so I know, with absolute precision, is that 1/3? 1/3. Let's see. 1/3 of it. Okay, let's do it in millimeters. That way we can divide by 3. 60. So 20. Is it at 20 millimeter? Yes, it is. I'm a genius. There it is. It's like 1/4 to 1/3 up the stem, up the blade edge. I mean, as the stem. Yeah. Can't go past 1/3, because then you'd be a turd. All right, so the other side. I'm pretty sure the sides of the stems on these are ground down. Okay, where am I stopping? Where am I stopping? Somewhere right there. Right? Is that it? Is that where I stop? Hopefully. So yeah, the more careful you do the sides here, the easier they are to grind down. Which means micro flaking. What is micro flaking? It's just the way it sounds, you know, little bitty flakes. If you do this with little bitty flakes, when you go to grind it, it looks pretty straight. Instead of when you grind it, it knocks off all these large deltas because you did it all aggressively with big flakes. It'll be all wonky when you start grinding it. If you do it all aggressively with big flakes, you got to do it very persnickety with small flakes. Or it won't look right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. I got to concavitize the base. I'm going to try to put a thinning flake in there too. Yeah. That kind of makes me nervous. Shoot a flake in through there. Makes me nervous. I don't like it. I just like looking at them after. That's what I like. Just looking at them afterwards. And it has a tendency to dive, remember. So I'm not expecting a long flake because it'll dive if I try it. If I try for a long one. That's as long as you get. That's it. I can try one on the other side. Maybe. If I want to push my luck. I don't think I want to push my luck. So how deep do I go with this? Oh, I got room to go pretty deep. Yeah. I can go pretty deep with that. Alright, good. I might do the other side too. I'm not sure exactly how deep these were made. These central notches. On the photographs, I think I saw some that were pretty deep. And these ears look kind of delicate. I don't know how effective that is with a heat treat. So these are probably raw, made from raw stone. If you got delicate ears on the base, if you use a heat treat, those snap off so easily that I don't even know if it's worth it to do it on a heat treat. If you're going to use it, if you're going to display it, oh, it's beautiful. But if you're going to haft it and use it, I suspect it's not really worth it. I'm going to do the pressure flake thing this time. Yeah. Although it ended up with a step. There, I gotcha. Mostly. I'm just going to leave it. Of course, now I got to fix it up a little bit. Because when I grind it, I need it to look nice. Yeah. I just hope I'm right about the grinding part. You know, when you get old, you try to depend on your memory. It doesn't work that great. Although my memory improved drastically when I stopped eating sugar. And if you're hearing this for the first time, if you are bloated and suffering from not being able to lose weight no matter what you do, just eat meat and eggs until you get skinny. That's it. Meat, eggs, and black coffee until you get skinny. I know some of you guys don't believe in that stuff, but that's fine. But that's what I did. I ate meat, eggs, liver. I ate some cheese. That slowed me down. But yeah, I ate meat, eggs, liver until I got skinny. No carbohydrates at all. I got skinny pretty fast. And then I started to try to reintroduce foods. I can only eat certain foods that don't make me sick, that are, you know, not meat and eggs. Like I can eat cabbage and certain greens, like what was I eating the other day? I can eat jalapenos, no problem. I can eat collard greens. I like collard greens. Mustard greens, I kind of like those. Green leafy vegetables I can eat. I can eat lettuce of different types. But I have to cook the greens, because if I don't, I do feel a little bit weird. But I do fine with cooked greens and butter. Oh yes. Although I had to cut out most dairy, because dairy stops me from losing weight. I put on weight really fast, especially on the holidays, because I like to eat chocolates and stuff. Yeah, I'll eat chocolates and I'll put these fancy creamers in my coffee during the holidays. I ended up putting on 10 pounds just with that little bit of calories, an extra 200 calories a day. I end up putting 10 pounds a month on. Yep, that's all it takes, is a couple hundred calories a day, and I can put on 10 pounds a month. And after a year of doing that, that's what, 100 pounds? So yeah, I've tracked it down. That's how bad I am. Just an extra 200 calories a day, I could put 100 pounds on in a year. Is it because I'm not active? That's part of the reason. The other part is my system just doesn't act right when I eat carbohydrates. I slow way down, my energy goes really low, I start to swell up. I start to get inflamed, my fingers get fat, my joints get sore, my neck starts to hurt. I can't look up in the air without getting dizzy. I get irritable. My depression comes back. On and on and on. Am I done? With this, I mean. Yeah. I think I'm done. So these are in the same complex of points. Same time period, and used side by side in many cases, I think. The Duncan and the Mallory. Same blades, basically. Just different stems. And they're hafted differently, obviously. So different hafting strategies To me, a different hafting strategy means a different cultural influence. Or a different type of animal you're shooting, or both. Right? Or it could be that they weren't used exactly side by side. They had some time in between these. Maybe these were earlier than those, or those are earlier than these. I'm not sure. All right, so that's this one. This is the Duncan. I like it because it reminds me of paleo. Yep, I like the paleo points. I like the thinning flakes. And it's a very useful point, I think, because it's extremely strong. If you half that with a wrapping all the way up the stem, and then down on the foreshaft, instead of just, a little bit across the tip and then down on the foreshaft. This one doesn't seem like it's as secure as this one for impact. So maybe it's a different animal they're hunting, or maybe it's just for cultural reasons. Some people just want to make a stronger point than others. I don't know. Anyway, get that Mallory out of here. This is only Duncan. Okay. So that's that on this one. Try to get a good snapshot. Okay.